Ooh. Hey guys, how you doing? Well, as you can tell, I'm back up in Sierras, and we got buku snow. This weekend is excellent, so we had an open window of a couple days, and looks like the week itself is it's going to be really nice. Got blue skies, it's nice. Oh, anyway, what I'm doing back up here, ever since everything that went on the previous video, and so what I've been doing is I've been coming up here as often as I can get, more often than usual, and for reasons. One thing, I came up here because we got a nice blanket of fresh snow, and I love tracking in the snow because it gives up everything. It's like a road map. But the main reason I'm up here is this. For about the last month, I've been monitoring the areas that were disrupted. And the reason I've been monitoring those areas is because there's a few crucial things that were involved in it, such as not just the habitat itself, but it's the actual animals that live in that habitat. Now, a lot of those animals that live in those areas are from a variety of small mammals up to large mammals, particularly deer, and some of these small mammals, and including the deer, happens to be in Squatch's food chain. So the food was scarce at those points, and to be quite honest with you, I got really concerned and worried because in those time periods I have not had a sign from them and picked up any evidence that they're around. But I do have some good news on it. Nature has a way to put things back in perspective, and that's what I'm seeing going on right now. So, in those areas, what happened is when it got it all disrupted, the animals that lived in those vicinities didn't come back to that area. You see, they didn't trust it anymore, and so they weren't coming back. They were staying away from it. They were avoiding it. So I was not picking up any kind of tracks of any sort for weeks. That's starting to change, and like I said, nature has a way to put things back in balance, and that's what I see is going on right now. And the good thing about it is the small mammals are starting to return, and the deer are coming back, and so his food source is returning. Now, probably the biggest task I got right now is, and the other thing I'm doing up here is, sees what I'm doing, is I'm reinserting myself to the Squatch group. I'm banking on, because I know they have a memory, and it took too many years to build up their trust. So I'm banking on their memory that they'll remember who I am. And so by doing this, I have to be out here, make myself available quite often. And this is what I've been doing. And I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm going to anyway. Guess what? Just recently, I saw one of the group members, a little distance from here. Big male, about 8.5 feet, 500-600 pounds, all covered in dark hair. Massive adult. That was large. I observed him for about 1.5 minutes. And let me tell you something, when you do see these guys, that minute and a half seems like a lifetime. Something kind of strange happens, you know what I mean? I can't explain it. I think most people that have experiences with it really can't explain it. It's just plain strange. And about a minute and a half goes by, and about a blink of an eye, he was gone. But that was good news as far as I'm concerned, because that means the group did not leave their territory. Okay? I wanted you to know that. This has just have been a temporary setback. And one thing about Squatch, he's hella resilient, okay? And hella evasive. And basically that's what he's been doing, keeping himself scarce. And I imagine those times he was out hunting, they were out foraging for food on other parts of their territory. And as you could tell, we got some nice snow. Look at this. And that's about how deep I am right now. I'm in about a foot and a half. Gets a lot deeper than that, and we've already hiked back in here. Tired. Wait a minute. Hold it. Did you hear that? There it goes again. Well, okay. Anyway, we're all good now. Anyway, like I was saying, there's something I wanted to talk about too. I think you guys really ought to know this. There's this fella, and he worked for the U.S. Forestry Service. And he started working for the Forestry Service back in the 1950s. One particular time, when he was working for the U.S. Forestry Service, he was also a scientist. He was called in to go to the state of Texas, where 3 dead bodies were found. What he was told, they were human-like, but not human. So this fellow went to Texas with the scientific team. His task was to do the forensics on the dead bodies. Now, the place he arrived at was a place called Bandera County, Texas. And when he arrived there, he found he came up to the 3 bodies. Now the three dead bodies, they were found, it was either inside of a cave or outside of a cave. In either case, they were found somewhere around like that. The first observation he had, when he had hands on the bodies, was this. He describes 3 females, 2 juvenile females, 1 large adult female, all covered in hair. The adult female, large and massive. Now, the funny thing about it, this scientist, this fellow that works for the U.S. Forest Service, classified it as Bigfoot. And after that, he classified it as Sasquatch. He also classified about 6 or 7 species that are known. I myself have classified about 5 or 6. There's some strange things going on around here right now. So anyway, the adult female was still alive. He tried to keep her alive. He didn't know what this kind of species was. He had no idea, never seen anything like it in his life. One key word he did use, though, was the first thing he noticed was primate. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you who this fellow's name is. His name was Dr. Miller. He had written a document on research on the subject. Dr. Miller passed away in 2005, so he's not here with us no more. The document itself just came out about 1.5 years ago. It's on the internet. The other thing about the Dr. Miller document and my own personal research, we concur with each other. What I'd like you guys to do is this. You really need to, for yourselves. Go to the internet, look up the Dr. Miller document. Read it. Please read it. And when you get done reading it, and then compare it with my research, okay? Because, see, my research concurs with his. And another thing, I did my own personal research on the document. I find it that it's factual and truthful, because he wouldn't have not known the things that he had written in that document unless he was there and hands-on, okay? And I myself, I consider myself, well, I am an expert in the subject of Bigfoot, okay? That's bottom line. So, please read the document. Please read it. Let me know what you think, okay? Now that I got that out of the way, oh, it is so quiet. You see, it's really quiet, guys, right now because I think they're out today. This is the first break they've gotten in a long time, and I'm glad. I'm glad that one group members did see me. And he wasn't aggressive towards me or anything. So, like I said, I'm banking on their memory. Now the task is to rebuild the trust. When the weather gets good, spring breaks and all that, I'll have more daylight hours, and I can get in some night research. That's going to tell me the whole picture right there, okay? Now, I'm going to explain something else to you. I got to come out here a little bit. Whew, about as far as I'm going to go. Now, check this out. I'm going to tell you something that happened to me in 2017. And I'm kind of reluctant of really talking about it, you see, because ever since what I experienced, I have only told 2 people. And I didn't want it to go any further than that. And I wasn't really going to say anything about it, but I figured, oh, what the hell? I've already told you a few things. Why not something else? So I'm going to tell you something that happened to me and I experienced. That's way off the charts. Way off the charts in the paranormal world. Completely off the charts. As a matter of fact, I get a cold chill going up my spine right now thinking about it. Now, I've told you before that up here in the Sierras, strange things happen. Things you can't even explain. You can't even begin to explain. and there's not even an answer for it. This was one of those times. In the late part of 2016, up here in the Sierras, we got smacked with a deep winter. This right here, what you're seeing, this is what I call a light winter. Man, did you hear that? I think they're out moving around. I'm hearing too much. It's too quiet. Anyway, when we had that deep winter, it was early February of 17, and I'm up here. And just like I'm doing here today, because I like the fresh snow, you know, because it's, when you get out here, it gives up everything. It's like a road map for me. Basically what I was looking for, I'm looking for tracks, prints, okay? What I'm about to tell you, it gets very strange, okay? Here we go. Like I said, I'm kind of reluctant telling you this because normally if you would tell somebody what I'm about to tell you, they'd say, oh, you're crazy. You're nuts, dude. But let me tell you this. What I'm going to tell you is factual and truthful. I was as sober as hell. Period. So, early February of 2017, I'm out here and I'm doing some tracking. And I'm going like this, you see, I'm just doing my thing and I'm walking, I'm being progressive, I know where I'm going. I don't see any tracks out there, okay? It's like what you see right now. You can give them a view. See all that nice clean snow? Okay? That's what it looked like that day. But up a distance from me, and I was out there walking around for a little bit, okay? This stuff's a pain in the butt to be walking in, believe me. So I'm walking out there a little bit. Man, you had to hear that. You heard that. We got something moving around out here. You know what? They're coming back. They're coming back. All right. Anyway. Okay, you guys ready for this? As I'm continually walking, just in front of me, a little ahead in front of me, what I see is some tracks. Okay? So as I'm approaching the tracks, I get up to about like this, and I stop. Say the track started here. So I'm looking at the first set of tracks, okay? They went on for about 20 feet. Something's missing. You see, where the tracks began, there was no indication of where it came from. None whatsoever. That's all you see. There are tracks like that. Nowhere where it came from. Whatever it was, it walked for 20 feet. Stopped. And that was it. There was no tracks of where it exited to. None whatsoever. Now, if you think that's strange, it's going to get stranger. I get down like this, and I'm looking at their paw prints, see? And I'm looking at them. And you know what they were? Are you ready for this? They were the paw prints of an extremely large canine. Larger than anything lives up here in the Sierras. We don't even have wolves up here in the Sierras, and this thing was larger than that. I mean, these paw prints were like this. And it gets even stranger. When whatever this creature or entity was, when it walked at 20 feet, are you ready for this? It walked upright, biped. And I'm not finished yet. It was walking on its hinds. It was the prints of the hind paws of a canine. So, after putting it all together, my observation and my conclusion, what I was looking at, basically what you had was an entity that appeared, walked upright for 20 feet, and then disappeared. There was no point of where it came from. There was no point where it went off to. That was it. And I'm going to tell you what, when I was studying those prints, I'm like this, and I'm looking at all the tree line, just like this. And I'm going to tell you what, that day I felt like I had eyes burning on me, man. I have never seen anything like that in my life. Not before, not since. I had a hard time on comprehending that what I was looking at, in fact, was real. There it is in front of my face. Look, I didn't take any pictures of it or anything because, you know, it's just one of those events that it comes out of nowhere, spontaneous kind, you know what I'm saying? I didn't have any cameras on me. That's not what I was doing when I was doing my field research. I'm doing field research. I'm not doing filming. I wished I'd have had my camera with me that day. So, but it goes to show you that the Sierras conceal the unknown. And she always will. So, I'm glad I got that out of the way. Whew. And believe you me, just when I told you that, when I was telling you what happened to me that day, man, I got another cold chill up my spine. You just could not imagine how I felt when you see something like that. And I'm Mr. Reality. I live in the real world, and you can't explain it. Okay? That is just some of the strange things that does occur out in the Sierras. Now, one more subject I want to talk about, and then what I'm going to do is we're going to get back to work, do some more field research. I got some good movement going on here. I hope you guys heard some of that. Now they're set still. It's quiet again. So before I let you go, one thing I wanted to say. Whoa, before I fall over. Now this here has to do with my red eye shine video that Bigfoot Tony did the analysis on. Now the part I'm going to talk about real quick, it has nothing to do with the red eye shine. It has the part to do before that. It has to do with the shadows. I know there was one particular shadow everybody was like wondering what it was. That part of the video, I've studied it over and over and over and over and over. Okay, and I never made a comment about it or anything. Well, I'm going to do it right now. And this is how it breaks down. There's a few points in the video where you can actually see the shape of the head of a primate. I know some of you have seen that. Well, you're not seeing things because that's what it is. Like I said, I've looked at that film over and over and over. Now that part, I was not really aware that that was going on in that part of the field at the time, because see, at that time I was more concerned about the red eye shine. To me, that was something filmed that's totally phenomenal. So anyway, as I did study it, yes, it does have the head of a primate. And there's the key point that gives it all away is this. As you're looking at the video, you'll notice there's a spot where it looks like the shape of a head. It's like a primate head, okay? If you remember in that video, there's a clear spot in the center like this. This is all black, and you got that clear spot, okay? That's not a shadow, because if that was a shadow, you wouldn't have a clear spot like that, okay? And I'm talking about the that looks like a head that's right in front of a big pine tree. What you're seeing is that's the flesh part. That's the flesh part of the Squatch, and that's the part that's showing that clarity in there. That's all clear. You see, because if that was a shadow, that would not be there. It would be a complete shadow. So my conclusion on that one was this. I'll go ahead and make a comment on it now. In my opinion, that is a Sasquatch. That was one, not a shadow. And if that was the case, then that night there was 3. Look at guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up, and I want to finish up a little more field research before the sun starts setting, because we got to get out here before the roads freeze up and stuff. So, being this is Sunday, I'm tired now. Anyway, look it. I appreciate everybody that was viewing my last video. I hope you really enjoyed it, and we'll see what happens this year. Like I said, I've been monitoring everything, and I'm very, very, very aware of my surroundings at this point. Believe that. So, stay tuned for my next video, okay? Hope you enjoyed the snow. Thanks for coming out with us. So until next time, hey, you guys take care. I gotta go.